Hey, how's it going? Mr. Deadman of Rant and Chill here. And let's talk about Black Lives Matter's statement regarding Cuba, regarding the protests, the revolt that's going on, where the people, they're fed up with their dictatorship. Well, they're hungry. They don't have food. Food prices going up. The shortage is insane. So they're hungry and they're protesting and they're being shot at with live ammo. So, that's insane. Of course, instead of condemning the Cuban regime, Black Lives Matter supports the Cuban regime shooting at unarmed protesters or rioters. Okay, but still, really weird that they'd be in support of that. But they're in support of that. If you've been following Black Lives Matter for a while now, it's really a no-brainer. While they say it's about Black lives, it's also about a push for Marxism, like communism, and that's not even hyperbolic. That was on their website. That language is on their website, and they support like the breaking down of the family unit. The family unit is essential. What? The family unit is important. What? Anyway, so this is what they're talking about here. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter condemns the U.S. federal government's inhumane treatment of Cubans. I'm sorry. Is it the U.S. federal government that's shooting at unarmed Cubans? And urges it to immediately lift the economic embargo. Oh. Why? Like, there's terms for it to be lifted. There's terms, a free and fair election, a free press, human rights, basic things that you would want. Really, this embargo should also be applied to China too. You think about what the stuff that's going on in China. So, if it's good for them, it should be good for China. So we should be strict that. Besides, it only applies to U.S. companies. I mean, Cuba could trade with other countries. It's possible. And urges it to immediately lift the economic embargo. This cruel and inhumane policy, instituted with the explicit intention of destabilizing the country and undermining Cubans. Destabilizing the country and undermining Cubans' right to choose their own government. You don't have a right to choose your own government when it's a dictatorship. It's a dictatorship. Right now they're trying to revolt and they're being shot at. They're just protesting and they're being shot at. They're not even doing South Africa style riots and they're being shot at. They're being shot at with live ammo. This is insane right here. In South Africa, things are burning down in insane ways that don't make any sense, because some politician was arrested or whatever for, I don't know, they thought he was corrupt. Okay. Anyway, but right to choose their own government. That's so goofy. Is at the heart of Cuba's current crisis. They're hungry. And they could trade with other countries. They blame the U.S. They want the U.S. to help them. I'm sorry. I thought communism was the utopia. I thought this was going to create a self-sustaining society that doesn't need help. That was the thing, right? That's the thing people say. No, of course they need trade. They need trade because they don't have food. I mean, they're farmers. I'm sure if you look into that, you'll find what's happening with the food shortage. Anyway. Since 1962, the United States has forced pain and suffering on the people of Cuba by cutting off food, medicine supplies, costing the tiny island nation an estimate of $130 billion. What are you talking about? Fidel was very confident that within 10 years, they were going to succeed over the developed nations, which isn't what happened at all, because it doesn't work. Yeah, no, and wait a second. This is the same people that would like describe Cuba as like this utopia, great free healthcare. Like yeah, if you want a Band-Aid, but have you seen their hospitals? They're not up to code. They're not good conditions. Yeah, sure, healthcare costs more in the U.S., but at least things are clean. Okay, and it does cost an arm and leg over here, but what are you gonna do about that? Man, I might need to go to Cuba get some of that free healthcare. Okay. Anyway, without the money, it is harder for Cuba to acquire medical equipment needed to develop its own COVID-19 vaccines. Well, I'm sure they could receive COVID-19 vaccines. Well, no, they were developed by U.S. companies. So if they could trade to other people, and those other people could trade to Cuba. So, I mean, whatever. And food production. Okay, this comes despite of the country's long medical care and history of lending doctors and nurses to disasters around the world. Okay. Not sure how good that is. The people of Cuba being punished by the U.S. government because the country has maintained its commitment to sovereignty and self-determination. Well, that's the thing. Okay. There was a whole thing. The embargo could be lifted. And maybe it should be. But what they're asking for is for some change. It's for a free open press, or a free press, free elections, where the people can actually decide who they want instead of a dictator. It'd be nice, basic human rights, things like that. Able to build their own property, that'd be nice too, But if you're gonna be this strict with China, or sorry, if you're gonna be this strict with Cuba, you might as well be this strict with China too. Like I said before, because they're up to no good. Instead of let's see, United States leaders have tried to crush revolution for decades. Well, there's a revolution going on now because it's not working, and they're hungry. I'm sure the people higher up have food for them that they're not sharing around. 100 million people, which 4 million are black and brown. Okay, you want to bring race into this? Look, they're shooting at their own people with live ammunition. Okay, and it's not like Cuba hasn't had some interesting. It's not like Cuba hasn't had an interesting history with Africa. Apparently, they were involved in some of their civil wars as well. That's weird. I was just reading up about that before doing this. Anyway, Cuba has historically demonstrated solidarity with oppressed peoples of African descent. Really? Okay. From protecting black revolutionaries like Assata Shakur through granting her asylum, to supporting black liberation struggles in Angola, Mesopotamia, Besser, South Africa. I'm going to butcher that. I said, okay. But you understand, they're being shot at right now. Is that, and you're going to blame the U.S. on that because of the embargo. The reason why they're protesting is because that, the reason why they're not condemning the Cuban government, the Cuban regime, is because Black Lives Matter doesn't want you to own property. They don't want that. They want a socialist utopia, a communist utopia, and it gets really dreamy, really pipe dream. But it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's you. But for us who've worked all of our lives for the things we have, I don't want to then be like, no, it's not mine. Yeah, I don't want to. It seems silly. It seems absurd to believe that. You're gonna rely on the government to redistribute food and redistribute, or to choose what you do, where you work, where there was their labor at, where you live, how you live, what you could do. Especially shutting down free speech. There is no free speech in Cuba. You cannot protest against the government. You protest, you get shot. That's the thing here. If the Black Lives Matter riots happened in Cuba, they would have been shot. They would have been shot dead in the streets. Now we look at President Biden to end the embargo, something Barack Obama called for in 2016. The embargo is a blatant human rights violation, and it must come to an end. Okay, well, we'll see about that. But how do you guys feel? I mean, I do get that it's something a long time ago, and maybe it doesn't matter anymore. But, and besides, if you're gonna be that strict to Cuba, why not be that strict to other countries that are also dictator hellholes? Well, you know. I mean, you got China with Uyghur camps over there. So, what do you guys think about this? Anyway, you guys take it easy. Have a good one.